Good afternoon, Flosstube. Today is Sunday the 13th of April 2025 and this is Flosstube number 38. I'm Lindsay, Cheshire Stitcher, both here on YouTube and over on Instagram. Welcome to my channel. Mostly it's about cross stitch, but I do include other crafts. 9 times out of 10 that's going to be my beading, and I have got some of that for you today. Welcome back if you are a returning viewer. It's lovely to see you again, and a very warm welcome if you are one of the 6 new subscribers I've had since my last video. Lizzie. If you are new here and you haven't done so already, I'd very much appreciate it if you could like this video and any others of mine you may have watched, and maybe even hit that subscribe button. Be very much appreciated. Right, there we go, admin done. So today I have got a finish which, very unusually for me, I have FFO'd as well. I know, don't fall off your seat in shock, will you? I'm looking at my notes down here as ever. It's what I'm looking down at, so because you know, without notes I'd never get anywhere. Right, so as I say, I've got a finish which I've FFO'd. I've got 2 new starts, I've got my PhDs, I've got my bit of beading, and a little bit of stash enhancement. So let's get going, shall we? Make sure I get the right bit of paper. Right, so first of all, before I show you anything, I'm going to say thank you to Lynn the Lancashire Stitcher and Elaine Ellie Welly Stitcher, who have both mentioned me in their recent Flosstubes. Thank you very much appreciated. And if you've come over from watching one of those videos, very warm welcome. I know I've already said that, but there we go. So first of all, and this weather must be going to my head, I've even remembered to pick my board up today, because you know normally I forget it, don't I? So let's get going with my finish. I told you this would be finished for this video, but I was struck with the urge to FFO it as well. So here we go. This is the January cotton and twine box, designed by, is it Emma Congdon? Stitch Rovia, I think her name's Emma Congdon. And like I say, I've FFO'd it. It came with the hoop. So I think last time you saw it, I had a few of these little sort of sprinkled about flowery things, and this flower to finish, possibly that flower to do, but I did say it would be done, and there we go. This is my 4th finish for the year, so averaging 1 a month at the minute. That's going to change, as you know, when I finish the commission piece. Let's hold it straight, shall we? There we go. Really happy with how it turned out. I just need to decide how I'm going to hang it or display it. And let's not show you the back. I haven't finished the back, so it's kind of 98% finished, but I'm okay with that. In fact, I probably will just end up leaving the back. I haven't got anything in my stash that I can think of that I can use on the back of it, so never mind. There we go. It's all done. Yay! I'm so happy with it. So happy with it. It's turned out really well. So there we go. That's that bit done. Next we have 2 new starts. 2. Find the bit of paper with the right note on it. I don't write my notes in order, unfortunately. I write my notes in as I think of them. So things end up on different bits of paper than they should be, really. And it makes it a bit confusing for me. Never mind you. So my first new start, and this is number 7 of my 25 in 25. I've started this one. This is the Shannon Christine 2021 Christmas Club. This is number 1. I'm stitching these for sparklies for her. She's going to make them into, well, as far as I know, she's going to make them into little double-sided ornaments for each one. There's 4 altogether. I've already done this one. I did this last year, and I decided I was going to start this next one, and because everything was in my stash, it's one of my 25 in 25. Maybe a bit of a cheat because there's another 6 for me to do, but it doesn't matter. My stitching, my rules. If I want to count it, I'm counting it. So yeah, so I've started this one. They're being done in DMC, and they are being stitched on Sparkly's Virgo. In this particular case, 32 count opal, because Kate knows me, and she knows I like stitching on that. This had 2 evenings, I think, and that is as far as I got. All morning it's been really dull here, and now the sun has decided to put in an appearance. I've checked the weather forecast, and the forecast has changed. It was supposed to rain all day, so I've put the washer on. So I do apologise if you can hear that in the background, but you have to take your chances. We've had beautiful weather for about 2 weeks, and then today it's been a bit dull and dreary. Anyway, back to the stitching. This is as far as I got in a couple of evenings. Quite happy with the progress, so I will be working on this again at some point. There we go. Quite happy with how much I got done in those 2 evenings. There we go, that's that. And then my next new start on Thursday, I decided I wanted to start something else. Spur of the moment, wasn't planned. And because I'd been stitching on the happiness one, I'm like, oh, I've got a stitch over your chart. I'm going to start. So I started that. So I went upstairs and I pulled out some fabric, and this is the one I'm doing. I think I bought it on Etsy. It might have been off her website, but more likely to be off Etsy. Morning coffee. Morning has broken, coffee has spoken. That is definitely me. Absolutely. So I'm using Pattern Keeper for this one, and I'm doing quite well with it, really, considering I only started it on Thursday. Here's how it looks already. I did take it with me yesterday to Cheshire Stitchers, but I barely got anything done. I think I did basically this yesterday. A grand sum total of 125 stitches in 5 hours, because I spend more time chatting and laughing and eating, and so my fabric is 32 to take my teeth out. 32 count clotted cream from Zweigart. I love this colour. It's a nod to my heritage. As I've said before, my dad was Cornish, and clotted cream is Cornish, so it's a nod to my heritage. And I'm using the called for DMCs. Now, as I said, I'm using Pattern Keeper for this. So I've already done 502 stitches of 3,158, which obviously doesn't include the back stitch. But there's not massive amounts. It's sort of little lines here, there and everywhere to accentuate bits. And that is 15.90%, which is not bad going, really. And I finished 2 colours. I know. Amazing, isn't it? So this brown is finished, and then this pale bit of the coffee pot. So those 2 colours are finished. It's not a big piece. It's what was it, 121 high by 80 wide, so it's not massive, but it was just whispering in my ear, so I decided I was going to start it. So there we go, that's my second new start. So we'll put you there, and now we move on to my PhDs. If you are new here, I don't refer to my projects as whips. I refer to them as PhDs, which is a potential happy dance, because we all do a happy dance when we finish something. So let's get my pad going, and seeing as we've got that picture up, we will start with this. So we'll start with, for a change, my commission piece. Last time you saw her, she looked like this, and I have put in, since my last video, just under 2,000 stitches on her, and that will be remedied today. I will make it to 2,000 today. I've had a quick count up again this morning, and I have got 19 full squares to do and 55 partials. I know the partial ones are going up rather than down, but the full number ones are coming down. But having said that, there are some that literally need 2 stitches or 4 stitches, and they will be complete. So I will hopefully get rid of at least half a dozen of those partial ones today. And let's fold that over. Here she is. As I say, I'm just short of 2,000 stitches. So as you can see, I've finished this bit here of her neck under the pearls. I think I've done a bit over here, but most of the last week, the last 1,000 has been here, and I've got a working thread on it as ever. But I've been starting to fill in these gaps here, which that's gonna get rid of at least 3 partial blocks. And then I've got down here, there's some blocks down here, there's all these odd stitches. I'm going to try and get those done today, which will get rid of yet more partial blocks. So there we go. I'm not going to get it done for Easter, but the end of the month is a definite possibility. Say 19 full blocks, so that's just under 2,000 untouched blocks, and I aim for at least 200 a day, but because she's now so close to completion, she's going to get more work on her. So next video will quite possibly be very sparse of PhDs, but keep your fingers crossed, this one will be finished. So yeah, there we go, she's coming on. You can see what there is left, and I am actually at a point with her where I can pick a colour and finish it, whether it's filling in bits here or bits here, or you know, bits that are sort of spread out in this middle section. But I am literally, as I say, at that point I can pick a colour and finish it. And I have actually finished a couple of colours, and I'm not far off finishing another one. Filling these gaps in up here, we'll finish off another colour. So there we go. She is so close now. I really would like to get her completed this month. Oh, there we go. Next up, let's get my pad out again. We have, no, we don't want to do that. We need to go back. We don't need to expand the picture. Next up is my current Love Quilt Square. Last time you saw it, it looked like this. I had completed the top of the windshield in America, and was hoping to finish off. I think I was going to finish this section when I had the boys the following day. Well, I did that, and then I moved on to working on the tyres, because those tyres are humongous, and they are, as you can see, pretty much a solid colour. We went fishing last Tuesday and I took this with me and worked on it and got another 200-300 stitches in it, but then reached the point of I can't face anymore. This is 939, so it's a dark blue rather than a black. So I've got the boys tomorrow, so I'm hoping I can finish this tyre off. At least the blue. If I don't get the filling done, that's fine. But this is the other project that I need to concentrate on in the next 2 weeks. It's due 26th, which incidentally is the day that I should be doing my next video, because the 27th is the Sunday. My partner's off and we are going to do the big car boot sale at Winnick Quay. If you're in the area, it's the big one opposite the B&Q, just off the M62. Absolutely massive. We've got loads of stuff to try and rehome, so rather than try and charity shop it all, I'd fill the car up several times over to do that. We're going to see if we can get rid of some of it at the boot sale. And then we've decided that anything that we make, we're going to put towards a day out. Rather than in the savings, we're going to have a day out with it. Probably to Blackpool, because we haven't been to Blackpool for a long, long time. But anyway, there we go, my current love quilt square. I think I'm going to start now alternating with the other bits of colour up here. It was just to break this up, because there's so much of it. So much of it. So there we go. I will put a link down below to Love Quilts. And as ever, if you want to stitch for us, please do come and join in. You don't have to sign up for a quilt. You can do an Any Child Square. At the moment, I think the most desired ones are superheroes. So, you know, Iron Man, Thor, Superman, Spider-Man, all of those ones. Disney princesses, which is not something I would stitch because, as you know, I don't like faces. I'm being paid to do the commission. That's why I'm doing that one. And if you quilt as well, fantastic, because there's always a need for new quilters. And if you know of a child that may benefit from a quilt, you can fill the form out and put them into the lottery. And I've just realised I didn't loosen the frame, so bear with me a sec. If you haven't got one of these and you use a scroll frame, highly recommend it. I can't remember what they're called. I think mine was called a thingy. But it's brilliant. Especially for somebody like me that has trouble with the hands. I meant to do this before and I forgot. You literally just put it on and turn it and it loosens your wing nuts. So, let's find the last time you saw it picture. So, yep, last time you saw it. Oh, hang on. I've done it again. I do this frequently, don't I? Get me order mixed up. That's what it's going to look like when it's finished. I'm doing this for a customer of Doodlecraft. And thoroughly enjoying it, surprisingly. Now, I have to mention, I said last time about piercing the Ada makes my hand sore. And one of my viewers, Sharon, commented and said, why don't you use a sharp needle? Or have you thought about using a sharp needle? You know, just a normal sewing needle? And I was like, oh my God. I've been stitching for 34 years this year, and not once has it ever occurred to me to use a sharp needle to pierce Ada. But then again, I don't stitch on Ada very much. So I was so grateful for that tip, and I will be using that when I come to do a bit more on it. So next time, oh God. Last time you saw it, it looked like this. And you may remember I said I needed to, no, don't do that. Where have we gone? There. I was trying to bring the picture up a bit. I said that I needed to unpick that bit of green for the second time. Well, I've done that. And I've restitched it. And now it looks like this. I know it's a bit wonky because, as I said, I had to... It's a bit better. I forgot to unroll it. So there we go. I've completely finished that thistle off now. I've done a bit more of the border, and I did that so that I could roll it up. I've made a start on the lot of red in the centre of the flag. Get the board out, woman. So yeah, I've completely finished the thistle. There is one little leaf to do above the top of the flag, which I will do when I get to that point of the flag. And say it's all been backstitched, and I've made a start on the red in the centre. So when I pick it up again, probably Tuesday evening, I will get out a sharp needle and do a bit more of the letter here, Kingdom, so I'll maybe do the G. I can't believe it's never occurred to me to try a sharps needle. Honestly. Like I say, I don't stitch on Ada very much. I do it for look quilts because that's what we have to stitch on. But I tend to pick projects that aren't full of fractionals because I know it hurts. That may change. I might start doing some with fractionals in if using a sharp needle works for me. I'll let you know next time. But I am quite pleased with the progress on that. I've done okay. I mean, it only gets an hour and a half a day, dependent on what time I've put the commission down, because I tend to do the commission till I've done my 200 plus stitches. Then I tend to work on that for an hour and a half, dependent, like I say, on how I've gotten on. So I'm just crossing everything off. And I will, I tend to make sure I've put it down again before my partner gets home from work. He gets home about 6:15. So some days it gets 2 hours, some days it gets an hour, some days it literally gets one length of thread in it. But progress is progress, so we're good. So, next up is my, nearly did it again, my weekend stitch along with Jeanette. Corey E. Batakori's Sunflowers Farm. As I said, I am going to rearrange it and budge it along because Sunflowers Farm just doesn't sound right to me. So that's what it's going to look like when it's finished. Last time you saw it, it looked like that. And you may remember I said I'd made a mistake and this should have been brown and white, and I'm doing it in black and white. Or I did it in black and white and didn't want to unpick it. So it's a nod to my area where we have a lot of black and white buildings. Now you may also remember last time I tried to explain the frame I was using, and I did so very, very badly. So I've got it handy because I was working on this last night. What are these? You've got your paddle that goes under your leg, and then your frame, and then you can adjust how you want it. You can have it flat like that. I tend to have it sort of like that. This is the 10-inch. The one I've got comes with a 12, a 10 and an 8-inch hoop. I quite like the 10-inch. I do quite well with that. So, and you can, it's height adjustable as well. So that's the lowest. And then we've got, I tend to have it on the highest, which is there. So yeah, that's the frame I very badly explained last time. Like I say, because I was working on it last night. It's down here on the floor. I had to take the stitching off anyway to show you because you can't see it very well in a hoop. So here we are now. There we go. So last weekend I did this and this vine, which in true Lindsay fashion has a mistake in it. There should be a gap between that leaf and his outfit, which I didn't do. So everything's going to be ever so slightly lower, 1 stitch lower. I can live with that. I didn't want to undo the vine. It took me long enough to stitch it. And then I started on him. And then last night after Cheshire Stitchers, we worked on it again. And I did his face and his hands and his hair and his hat. I've got a little bit of white to put in his hat, which I'll do when I come to do there's another sort of sign here. It fell on the floor, didn't it? I'll go back and fill that in when see, there's a white pole there for the sign, so I'll come back and fill that bit in on his hat then. And then I did the green line underneath and 1 flower stalk. So I will be back on this a little bit later on today once I've packed everything up and sorted it all out, and had to listen to my partner going on about his flipping van and his fishing yesterday. I'm recording a little earlier than normal because he will be home in about 2.5 hours, which is slap bang the time I would normally record. He went down to Bournemouth to see his brother to get some welding done on his van, because it was easier for him to go down there than his brother to bring the welding gear up here. So we went down Friday morning, and he's, like I say, he's due back in the next couple of hours. So I'm recording a bit earlier than normal. So I will do some more on my commission piece, and then we will be back at this probably around about tea time-ish. And I'm hoping that I can finish the sunflowers, maybe start on that side, or I might start, there is a white, sort of a white lace effect border under the green. I may make a start on that just to break the white up, because there's quite a lot of white in it. So that's my weekend stitch along with Jeanette, the infamous Jeanette. One of these days I will do my best to get her here for a recording. And then one evening I decided I fancied working on my Quaker flag. I love working on this, absolutely adore it. As you can see, it's from Vivsters on Etsy. I started it last year as part of the 2024 Quaker flag stitch along. Didn't pull the piece of paper out with all the information on it, but from what I can remember, it was organised by Wombat Hollow Crafts and Darvanelli Studios. So I didn't get much done, only got a couple of evenings in on it, but that is absolutely fine. And I realised how much I've missed it. So here's how it was last time you saw it. my fabric is 30, no it's not 32, it's 40 count.
Here's some info about 13.
I caught a button. I caught the button on as I put my pad down that activates Siri. So as you can see, I did this white. Yeah, I realised just how much I've missed working on this. So I think once I've got a few sort of plans rolling around my head as to what I'm going to do once I finish the commission. I might pick a project and work on it for a week and then move on to the next one. I'm certainly going to have a focus piece. I haven't decided what as yet. It might end up being this. It's more than likely actually going to be the steampunk portal, which I did work on, and I'm not showing it to you because I discovered that when I worked on it at the retreat I have missed an entire row out. So I have decided that I'm going to frog it at my leisure. I'm going to turn my fabric round and I'm going to restart it again. And if anything else goes wrong that requires major frogging, I'm just going to give up on it, because this will be the third time I've restarted it and I really don't want to do it a fourth time. So if I do, that's more than likely going to be my focus piece. And then, as I say, I think what I'll do is I'll have a focus and then pick a project, and it gets a week, Monday to Friday, work on it, whatever. And, you know, if I want to work on it all day, I'll work on it all day. If I just want to do a few hours in the morning, that's fine. I'll do it that way. We'll see. But that's the most likely thing at the moment. But that could change. Anyway, here it is now. I've already shown you that bit anyway, haven't I? I just did the white. My fabric is 40 count Beautiful from Fabrics by Crafty Kate, and I'm using silky threads, and I didn't pull them out to show you. I do apologise. I think this is 1071. This is 1035, and I can't remember what this dark blue is and that blue is. I think that's correct. But there we go. There is my Quaker flag that last year was the love of my stitching life, and will probably continue to be the love of my stitching life once I can actually start to work on it again. So I have got 6,917 stitches of 48,335, which is 14.31%. So I added sort of 1.31% because it was at 13.62%. No, that's not right, is it? Can you tell maths is not my strong point? Anyway, I've added just about 1%, just under 1%. Yeah, just under 1%. I'm good with that. Any progress is progress, and I have missed it. So, next we have this one. This is the Cotton and Twine March 2023 design, and this is number 3, I think. Again, I didn't check. Remembered me board and forgot to check things. Pretty sure it was number 3. Yeah, number 3 of my 25 in 25. So that's what it's going to look like when it's finished. As I said, we went fishing on Tuesday, and I would normally only take one project, but I decided that I would take something else, and that was something else. Didn't get massive amounts done on it. That's fine. I just needed a change from Constant Dark Blue. So here's how it looked last time you saw it, which is a couple of months ago. And Here it is now. Had to laugh. I was working on it. And where we were sat, so we were kind of here at the bottom end of the lake. And just round the corner, there was a couple of fellas. And one of them came wandering over to have a chat. He mentioned my sewing. But more than anything, I get the feeling he came round to see if I was drunk, because I'd taken a bottle of Schlur, which is like a white grape drink in a glass bottle that from a distance probably looked like a wine bottle, and I kept taking it out the cool box, having a slurp, putting it back. And I said to my partner, I said, I'm sure that every time I have a drink, they're staring at me. And I'm like, I'm sure they think I'm drinking a bottle of wine. So I get the feeling he came over to see if I was drunk. So, there we go. As I say, not massive amounts. So I finished the chicken and I did a bit of green. And that was it. Not a lot, but I'm good with that. Any progress is progress. So this may well be the project that when I go fishing with my partner I take with me, as well as a love quilt square, because as I say, it's number 3 of 23 and 20, not 23, it was 2023's box, number 3 of 25 and 25, and I would like to get them finished this year. So there we are. And then last but not least, and I don't have a before picture of this one because I forgot to take one, I've only done a tiny bit on it, is silver and gold. I picked this up the day that I discovered my massive mistake on the steam pump portal, and by this time it was, when I discovered it, it was about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. So I picked this up just for the remainder of the evening. Silver and Gold from Bent Creek, limited edition kit. I don't know what year it was produced because there's nothing on the back and there is nothing on the chart. It's not on their website anymore, so I'm assuming it's no longer available. So you'd have to either get in touch with them or search eBay. And like I say, I didn't do very much, and I forgot to take a start picture. Here it is. I finished this tree off because this tree was partially done, so I finished this tree off and did this bit of background, and that was it. So I am enjoying it. I just like to break that background up because there is quite a lot of it. I'm going to move that, you can see the house. I haven't done any on the house, but it goes up about another 4 or 5 rows above there, and once I get past this, they're just literally going to be very long rows, so I'm just trying to break that background up a little bit. There we go. And that is the end of the PhDs. Plan going forward for the next couple of weeks is going to be as much time as possible on the commission to get that finished, and lots of attention to the Union flag, and it'll be my weekend stitch along. So next time round, don't be surprised if all you see is 4 projects: the commission, the flag, the weekend project, and my monster quilt. Monster truck, which actually hopefully should be finished. So next time you may have a very short video. So next is my beading, and I don't have my phone to hand with the picture on it, but I'm working on Julia Prettle's stacking tree. I think it's called Stacking Tree. Last time I showed it to you, I'd finished that piece, and this bit was sticking out the bottom. well, you need to push that in. And I was working on the second piece, so I showed you I'd done this bit, and I think I'd started on the orange. So obviously I've now finished tier 2, and you push that bit in, because otherwise you end up with a big lump of brown in the middle. But that goes into there like that. So that's tiers 1 and 2 done, and I have started on tier 3. Like I say, when I come, once this is finished, this bit gets pushed up, ready for the next one, and then that one will sit in the top. I'm using the called for colours for the trunk, and this one I am doing, I don't know if you can, I'm using number 4 as ever, which is the dark purpley iridescent purple, and I'm using copper for the main colour. One of my favourite metallic colours, and I've got so much of it. And that's my beading. Next time, this one should be finished, so you'll get a better idea of the colour, because as I say, there we go, that shows it a bit better. Put it on your hand and move it close. It's a lovely coppery colour, and I've got an awful lot of it because I've got my mum's as well. And that shows you pretty well the purple as well, my favourite purple. So yeah, next time that will be finished. So all that leaves me with is my little bit of, just checking my notes. I've done that. Okay, my little bit of stash enhancement. Now, a post popped up on Facebook from Threads for You, Threads number 4 and a U, to say that she was now stocking sulky, and that she had a very limited number of cones of black, 2,000 meters on a cone. So I ordered one. It's going to take me years and years and years to use that up, and that's okay. But it also means that when it comes to things like black sample in November, I don't have to worry about making sure I've got enough black, because if I do a black sampler, it will be done in sulky. That's my phone. I'll ring them back in a minute. And if you're thinking, I recognise that tune, it's the theme to Van Helsing. So also in my order, I got the spring pack, which you can't really, there we go. So I bought that. I also got some DMC, and I bought the Brights pack as well. So there we go. So now I've shown you these, I can go and mark them off the list, because I found a list of the full range of sulky threads, and put them away. So there we go. As I say, next time round, don't be surprised if all you see is 4 projects. By then, hopefully, I will have my Silks for You monthly. As I said, hopefully 26th of April. Until then, have a nice Easter. Don't overdo it on the chocolate. And I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye.